Hello loves, this is Kanafa bjibin, a traditional Middle Eastern dessert. Now I do have the recipe on my YouTube, but I felt like I needed to freshen up another one because I changed a few things. Very slight changes, but I feel like they made a world of a difference. Now if you have a local Arab market, I suggest you try it out to see if you can find any of these ingredients. First off, you do need shredded phyllo dough. You can find that anywhere. It comes in long strands. You can either hand cut it, but I like to just use it dices them up small for me, but you can see what your preference is in size. So here is the tricky part. This is the sweet cheese that they use for Kanafa. This you cannot often find in any stores. Not even all my local Arab markets sell it. There's one specific place I find it at. So if you cannot find this cheese, you can just stick to the other two cheeses, which I'll talk about in a minute. So I also like to use the food processor because as you can see, it chops it up finely. Now for this recipe, you're only going to need 1 cup of that sweet cheese, 1 cup of mozzarella, and 1 cup of ricotta. If you can only find the mozzarella and the ricotta, then you would do 1.5 cups of each. In that same bowl, you're going to add 1/3 cup of sugar and then mix that all up. I personally have never tried it with just the 2 cheeses, but I don't see why it wouldn't taste good. Set that aside and let's work on the butter. This is where I kind of tweaked my recipe. Last time I said 3 sticks of butter. This time I'm only using 2.5 sticks. I felt like it didn't need that much butter to begin with. Cover it in saran wrap so it doesn't pop all over in the microwave and melt it down. Now there is Kanafa coloring, but you can also just add orange food coloring to it. This is what gives Kanafa that orange color. While we wait for that, let's make our syrup. This is the other place where I kind of adjusted the recipe. It's kind of like simple syrup, but it's not because it's 1 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of water. Simple syrup is 1-to-1 ratio. So this recipe calls for rose water, but I didn't have any and I just used orange blossom water. And let me tell you, I truly think it made a difference. A little bit of lemon juice as well. Let that boil until it's clear liquid and set it aside so that it thickens up a little bit. Now back to our butter. You're going to go ahead and take off that little foamy layer that you see, and then add it to the bowl of the shredded phyllo dough. This is the entire package, by the way. And those 2.5 sticks are going to be enough to cover up the entire bowl. That's why I didn't use 3 anymore. So mix it all up until it's properly evenly coated. And no, I'm not wearing gloves. This is for family. They better not be disgusted of me. Anywho, in a 9x13 pan, go ahead and grease it. Cut that mixture of the Kanafa dough in half. Spread half of it on the bottom. This is where I feel mine is a little bit different because most people don't do this. They just add the cheese and then a layer of the Kanafa dough. But I like to make it like a sandwich. So then you add the cheese on top, and you want a little bowl of water on the side next to you because it does tend to stick to your hand, and you want to evenly place it on top of the dough. Don't do what I did. Use smaller spoonfuls to evenly place it around because it moves the dough on the bottom. Afterwards, add the remaining last half of the phyllo dough. Bake it at 400 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes, depending on your oven. Top rack. I let it sit for about 10 minutes because the cheese is super, super soft. Then I add some crushed pistachios on top. And yes, you have to add this. It adds to the perfect flavor. Then sprinkle that syrup. You'll notice that it's thickened slightly, which is what you want. And it is ready to serve. It makes a delicious crunch sound, which I wanted to include in there, but there was too much background noise. This was after iftar dinner and everyone was super excited to eat it. Now, the ingredients for this is pretty pricey because my husband made a point that wouldn't it be cheaper to just get it from a local bakery? But not to toot my own horn, but this literally tastes delicious, especially when it is fresh out of the oven. I'd love to see you guys try this. Thanks for watching.